things get weird immediately as the door opens. You see a ransacked mess hall and rec room. The lights in here seem to occasionally come back on. There's a banner drooping from the ceiling that seems to have mold and moss growing on it that says "Happy Birthday, Olsen." Rain is dripping from the ceiling. There are empty cups, dishware, and broken glass everywhere. There are pulse rifle bullet casings, blood spatter, and blood, claw gouges, and other signs of struggle on the furniture in here. There's a couch that's been pushed over. And on the table, you can see that someone has left a woman's head ripped at the neck. So I'm going to ask everybody for a fear save.
You stole my good roll.
Ah!
No. Oof.
Dr. Manson, you are keeping it together today. You're doing good. You're barely affected by anything going on around you. But Captain Baker and Dr. Mason, you're looking around. There's so much more happening in this room. It's just you don't have enough lights to point everywhere. Like, everything I've described is just what's immediately ahead of you with headlamps and a shotgun. That head being left on the middle of the table is pretty fucked up.
I don't think we're gonna find anybody alive down here.
I think Manson, in this moment of weird medical clarity, is going to walk up to the head and turn the flashlight back on and start examining and try to determine if I think that this was removed by the 12-foot tall creature or something else.
Move towards the head, you see off to one side that there's something going on in area 6 on the map. Like, just out of the corner of your eye, there's something at the door over there. And you're moving forward. You go to the table. The table is actually 2 tables pushed up against each other. And the other table has been flipped over. The cake that was on it has been splattered in every direction. And there's a human arm from underneath the table that's, like, coming out. It's like trying to grab the cake.
Oh, what a sad way to go.
Is there a body attached?
Hey, do you want to flip the table over and see if there's a body?
I think the temporarily fearless Manson is gonna like do a very detailed look to try to etch these details into memory and then try to lift the table.
Okay. You lift the table. There is a headless corpse. They're wearing corporate fatigues of the company. They have a big hole where their neck should have been. The things that belong in the neck are gone. And their whole body is covered with, like, extremely thin, like 1 inch or less long cuts. Like thousands of paper cuts across their body. You get in there closer. You take a look inside that hole. The chest cavity has been hollowed out. All of the organs that belong in there, lungs, diaphragm, heart, are all missing. You're looking at intestines from above.
I'll snap my gloves and pull out my specimen kit, and I wanna examine this.
You go in there,
Dr. Manson, perhaps
like
look for a name tag before you...
Yeah, name?
You go inside the body, and you pull out dog tags.
Oh.
It says Lance Corporal Xavier. When you're
not on the list
in there,
nope, not who we want. Next.
It almost looks like something climbed out of the body from the inside, but that would be crazy, right?
I think...
Does that match the head?
Possibly some sort of parasite might have exited this person.
So when you say that, Renfield immediately begins taking her hazmat suit off and equipping it over top of her pilot gear.
Smart. Let's do it.
Do
I do that, and I hook up my oxygen tank.
Is there anything to suggest that this head and this body were not one at one point? Or is it like two
The
totally
head is
different skin
real messed
pigmentations?
up, and the body is real messed up. It's hard to say they belong together, but you have a med scanner, and you do a quick DNA scan, confirms that these came from the same source.
Okay.
These are both A negative.
Well, whatever did this is not whatever made those claws in the locker, and this was some sort of parasitic relationship, and either something removed the head to make a way for it out, or it removed it itself.
Renfield swings her shotgun around the room and says, "Got a kitchenette and a pantry over here, Captain."
Are you hungry?
I don't think we should eat or drink anything at this base.
Agreed. The hazard suit, Phineas there, it's got a lamp.
Tink. Max power.
So just to be clear, is everyone but Dr. Manson in hazard suits now?
I want to see if I can like get a little something to do like a DNA analysis of whatever that was and let it run while I put my suit on.
Interesting. Your DNA analysis indicates that the only DNA found inside this corpse is from Lance Corporal Xavier.
Do you share that?
I think like I've got most of the suit on and I've got the helmet and I look down at the med scanner and I just well, that's unusual, and then put the helmet on.
What's
Xavier climbed out of Xavier?
What's unusual? The fact that she has no head and no organs? I'd agree.
Well, we don't know if that's unusual given for whatever did this. That could be normal behavior for whatever this is.
I'm sure whatever creature did this is not.
The lights turn back on, briefly flickering. You quickly see that there's a barricade up against one of the room walls.
Which one?
It
3 or 4?
appears to be room 6.
What about the doorways to what is it? 5.
Area 4
yeah.
appears to be open and is right next to the kitchenette.
Does the barricade look like it was set up from our room blocking the other way, or can we just not tell which way
You
it
want
was?
to move over there?
Very,
Take a
very
look
slowly.
The lights are still on. You move towards it slowly, creeping forward. You can see that one couch, a table, and several chairs have been shoved up against the door to the hallway to Area 6, and it looks like it's to prevent things from the outside coming in.
So
No,
we're on the safe
unusual?
side.
What's unusual is I
Supposedly.
wasn't able to get any sort of DNA from something other than the victim, the subject. I don't know, whatever word you'd like for me to use.
What? Meaning it wasn't a creature? Hold on. Give me it. Let me see.
Well,
And-
you can't think about things so terrestrially.
Well, as you think about creatures, I think about robotics. So now I'm thinking whatever it was mechanical. I'm going to analyze the body now and fellow nerd out.
Around here we can use.
I mean, it's possible that whatever these creatures are don't have the typical DNA convention that I'm used to analyzing.
Can I make a cybernetics roll to see if it's something that's like sharp cut edges, like almost like it was done by a machine?
I think you take a look on the inside. You don't need to make a roll. There's no cybernetics in this person, and there never have been.
Yeah, I mean, not like an actual cybernetic, but like it was machine done. No chance. Okay.
This is definitely not the precision cuts that one would expect from machinery.
I guess
Got it.
since I wasn't able to get a different DNA reading, I would just run an analysis on like foreign chemicals in the body.
Okay.
Anything that doesn't belong in a person that shows up as like aberrant or unusual
Well,
Yeah.
while he does that, I'll peek
on
in
a
the hallway for
biochemical
4.
level.
You
Oh,
do
boy.
find several unusual chemical substances in his blood. It requires further analysis. This handheld tool definitely is not capable of reading it.
If we can get power to the lab, I can do a more thorough analysis of this stuff I found in his body. It's foreign. It could be alien.
Captain Ferb, what were you doing here?
Wanted to peek in the hallway to 4 there.
To 4? Okay, so you take a look into the pantry. You can see that in the pantry, the shelves are completely bare. They're those kind of like kitchenette ones where it's like 4 levels of wire framing. Everything has been taken off. And in the center of the room, there is a pile of marine MREs, a huge pile of it. But in the far corner, there is a dead marine with dog tags glinting in the light of your headlamp. On the outside of his body, you can see that there are thousands of paper cuts along his arms.
It's like we got another one over here.
Oh, interesting. And I'll pick up my scanner and my sample kit. This could provide an interesting comparison.
This looks like it was the last stand of sorts with all the food here. So this was like the place to try to, I don't know, survive and hold out from the barricade. Except what all these tiny little cuts don't make sense. It's like there was
The 3 of you lean down over this guy. His dog tags say Second Lieutenant Lang. There's no rifle. He doesn't have any weapons on him at all. I will need Dr. Manson to make some sort of medicine roll. I think zoology will serve you here unless you have something related to humans.
So I have pathology.
Yeah, that will not serve you here. This is not a pathological thing.
I have zoology, pathology, and exobiology.
I think zoology will get you by.
Okay. Is this like an autopsy type thing?
Yeah.
Do I get advantage from my med scanner?
Does the med scanner say that?
I'm just arguing that applicable tool.
Yeah, you know what? I didn't realize it did that. It does not. You don't even need to make a roll then. The med scanner analyzes the body and determines that this person died do
before I say anything to the group, do those small paper cuts all over look similar to the exterior damage to the torso?
Well, it's 2 people now that have died from these little cuts, it seems. It's very odd.
And the cuts have the same pattern as the torso from the other subject, but this person died of starvation.
Remfield is watching the door to the freezer and just keeps looking between the door over to the Marine and says, how did this guy die of starvation with a giant pile of MREs in reach?
I would like to grab...
You got rabies, you can't drink water, right?
I would like to grab the arm and take a sample of blood to see if there's the same unknown trace elements.
There are not the same unknown trace elements.
Doctor, can you tell if the cuts came before or after he had expired? It just seems, to Renfield's point, it seems very odd.
Are they pre or post mortem?
They appear to be pre-mortem.
They starved to death after suffering these injuries.
Is it possible whatever causes these lacerations can do like paralysis or something like that?
I mean, if there was some sort of venom to cause paralysis, I would have detected something in the blood work. If it doesn't bar something... There's a lot that could be happening, but I would need a more complete lab to do a full hands-on. In case there's some sort of neurological disruption or...
Renfield is just shaking her head the whole time you're talking.
Was this way a dead end after that? There's nothing else.
There's the walk-in freezer.
Let's open it real quick while we're here. Renfield, cover me.
You open the freezer. There's no food in the freezer. There are definitely hooks for like hanging meat inside. Instead, you find a frozen marine. It's negative 40 Celsius. And when you open the door, it's clear that like the freezer being closed has kept the cold in, and now that you've opened it, the cold is like flowing outwardly. There is a medical case next to the marine. The marine is wearing a hat made of tinfoil and has dog tags around his neck that have frozen to his body that say Lance Corporal Resnick. He has some sort of canister that he's clutching to his chest, right below his dog tags.
What's that?
But let's be careful.
I'm starting to get really freaked out. What?
Renfield takes her shotgun, points it at the ceiling, and says, "There's a vent up there."
No.
She points to a vent in the ceiling.
Now,
Is it open?
In the
there
freezer?
might not be.
Don't think
might,
so. I think it's an air vent.
No, there might not be anything venomous that caused them to starve, but I mean, there could be the simple solution of poisoning in the food or something else affecting them neurologically. I mean, putting tinfoil on the head is sort of an unhinged type thing. There's a psychological there's a psychological review process for these Marines, yes?
Renfield just shrugs.
Look at that one out there, starved to death. This one in here looks like he did this to himself almost.
Hid in the freezer and possibly froze to death. I used my med scanner to confirm he
tinfoil
froze to
hat.
death.
You go in to use your med scanner. It kind of fritzes out and then just shuts off.
Dun dun dun.
You
Try to
slap it
power
several
cycle
times. Yeah, battery's good. You power cycle it, and like as it's running its boot, it just like weird corrupted code appears on the screen. And it turns off again and just starts cycling on and off over and over. Kind of seems like the boot cycle has been disrupted.
Inspect that canister that he's clutching.
Sure.
What is Resnick holding there? Yeah.
It looks like there's some sort of frozen liquid inside. It's not labeled.
Does it look like it's something from like a laboratory?
It does.
Be careful with that. It might be some sort of sample collection.
Well, let's observe this.
Biological?
If he went into the freezer and potentially froze himself and is clutching this in the freezer, he must have wanted to keep it frozen or keep it cold.
Should we shut the door?
Look, there's a lot of conjecture with very little evidence to base it on right now. I've got.
I apologize. What is your hypothesis?
Well, we need to analyze it. I don't even know if the cold would have had any effect to it.
Don't have time for analysis too much right now. We gotta.
It does seem counterintuitive to hold it in your hand to keep it cold, but maybe.
I understand that there are things we need to do, but something happened to these people, and an analysis is the best way for us to protect ourselves from suffering the same fate.
Where?
I would just like to speed it up, is all I'm saying.
Well, I can't, unless somebody can figure out what's going on with the software on my scanner, I can...
Well, let me take a look. I got computer skill. Can I take a look and see what it...
Okay.
I might have it on the fritz.
Sure. Let's do it.
All right. Intellect, I suppose, yeah?
Yeah.
Hope it just gives a message that says, like, we're watching.
You are taking a look at this thing. You begin walking around the room with it, idly tinkering. You trip over something and you fall and you hit your face. And because the floor is frozen, you slide for a little bit. And you don't really see what you tripped over, but your lamp on the top of your suit breaks.
Oh.
And you still got the scanner and you're so frustrated, like your nose hurts from slamming into the ground. There's some sort of virus that has junked this thing up. Like the doctor must have just uploaded something weird onto it at some point.
What was the last thing you hit this with? Like, it's jacked up.
I don't know. I plug it into the thing and it downloads data. I don't know.
It's basically fried.
Well, in that case, and I'll carefully take the sample kit, the sample, and put it in my sample collection kit.
Okay, you're taking the canister.
Is that
from,
a wise decision? We just said you need to study
from
it.
the Marine, to be clear.
The one that he brought in the freezer with him.
Yeah, I need everyone to make a fear save. As when you remove it, his fingers go off with it and are stuck on.
Cool.
There's like a snapping noise, and Renfield turns and goes, "What was that?"
Balls.
All
Fingers.
of you.
Ooh,
Stress
fingers.
is growing so fast now. All of you are sweating. Dr. Manson is not in his hazard suit. The rest of you are.
I am.
Oh, you're all in? It's close in here. It's real close. That, whatever this frozen thing is, you now have like 3 human fingers on each side stuck to it. And you can see that Renfield hasn't seen this happen yet. She's looking at the thing that the captain tripped over, and she's kneeling in front of it. It looks to be some sort of medical case, and you can see that there's like a mist that comes out of it when she opens it and goes, "Whoa, that doesn't seem good."
Ah, crap.
I'm gonna, you know what? I'm gonna look at this and I just start walking out of the freezer.
Dr. Mason, in the future.
Do you know what this is?
What is it?
She opens the bag and there's 25 liters of labeled chemicals in here.
Labeled?
Labeled.
Okay.
So the rest of you don't recognize what it is. I will need an intellect, we'll say exobiology roll from the doctor.
Okay. Okay.
You're up on your generics. This appears to, it's not made by your company, but it is a chemotherapeutic agent. This is 25 liters of radiation treatment. Pretty extreme radiation treatment, like real late stage or like early heavy dump exposure.
This is some Hail Mary chemotherapy.
So there.
May it just match those weird chemicals you found?
No, I would have recognized these.
Okay.
But again, it's a pure conjecture. It could have noticed these things and tried to use it to kill whatever parasites, but I mean,
the spawning, the second thing, the first of the 12-foot thing, and then the second thing is all these little cuts, multiple things.
We don't know if there even is a relationship between the two.
Well, at least I'm trying, Doctor.
Oh no, I appreciate it. There are no bad ideas in science.
Mumbles just yours. Now
here's a bad idea. And Ferb will point over at the vent and say, "We got a barricaded room back there. We got a vent here. We got some places still to go. How big is this thing? Who can fit? Should we try it?"
You go up. Now,
don't we still have one other pathway, sir?
Vent's big enough for humans to fit in is movie stuff. But when you get up there, it looks like it's just big enough for a human in a hazmat suit to move through.
How convenient.
Seems unusual that vents this large aren't standard on prefabricates like this.
What do you expect you to find up there? We need to turn on power and
A shortcut is all I'm thinking, but
and the lab's not going to be up there either.
I don't know.
I think we did still have another pathway that was non-barricaded.
All right, let's go take a look.
Did we not?
There are 2 other doors out of the main base that you haven't explored, although one of them is barricaded.
Yeah. There was the barricaded one and then the I guess.
The one going towards 9.
3 to 9, yeah.
So what are you guys doing as you re-enter into the commissary?
I'm probably not paying too much attention as I'm stuffing this.
Ferb would probably be up front.
I'm sticking the sample into my sample kit and trying really hard not to think about the fingers. I'm trying to brush off if I even can, so I don't have fingers floating around in my pack.
Flick is very worried about going through that hallway and seeing if there's a barricade on the left. Anything to the right, he's completely not paying attention to.
When you re-enter into the commissary, no one is saying anything. And every few seconds, you hear a thumping noise coming from the northwest. Boom.
Barricaded area?
Beyond the barricaded area.
So we've been in these prefabs before, right?
Yeah, they don't all look exactly like this. You know, they're modular and you can fit them together.
I mean, what kind of weight would need to happen for us to be able to hear something drop or move
not
inside a
much,
prefab?
you know, because they're all interconnected, right? The walls
Okay.
carry sound pretty well.
I think when Flick first sees it, he stops moving.
All four of you begin moving towards the hallway. And then Dr. Mason stops. Renfield stops and basically barrel sweeps you with the shotgun and goes, "Doctor, what's going on?"
You don't hear that?
And when you say that, the lights that have been on in the commissary for several minutes turn off.
No, that's not what I want. That's bad.
Bad timing.
Headlamp.
Feeling the lamp, yeah.
You see a flash of lightning, which is pretty strange given that you're indoors, and then you realize that there are holes in the ceiling that the rain has been coming through, and you can see outside through them.
Like big holes?
You take a closer look. It looks like pulse rifle holes. These are bullet holes. Someone shot at something on the ceiling.
Oh boy.
The music is doing the violins at the perfect time. I really appreciate that.
I think that would probably get Slick to not move towards the hallway tonight, but maybe back towards the main front door.
Okay.
Something that's close to what he thinks is safety.
As
Or
Renfield
shuffle.
sprays the shotgun over the door directly opposite the commissary, you can see that it has a sign on the outside that says Command Center.
No.
As she steps into the hall, she says, "Doors either side, left and right." "What do we want to do, Captain?" "I got a med bay over here on the right."
Okay.
Oh, medical. Interesting.
What's to your left?
I think it says
Barricade.
garage
Please say
down
barricade.
there.
Garage? And she's in the hallway, like 3 heading towards 9, essentially?
Yes, she is now between 3 and 9 in that hallway, just like moving the shotgun between all of them.
Oh, boy. Well,
Not all these prefabs are built exactly the same, but in a lot of the medical facilities I've worked in, they've had their own backup power for patient care.
all right,
Might be
I'll
able to get medical running. See if I can run an analysis on this, see how dangerous it is to us.
Just make sure we're oriented right. When you said northwest for the sound, that's
That
10.
would be
That
towards
is
like
10.
10.
Yeah, just want to make sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I vote going away from the garage.
I concur. Let's head towards medical. Let's hope you're right. Get some backup power.
And perhaps Renfield, if you'd be so kind as to just watch that door right there.
Make our way.
Okay. So Renfield watches your backs. So she moves past the command center and then turns to face towards the command center and the garage and just kind of takes a knee and just waits there for you all to come back. The door to the med bay has to be forced open. Inside, you see that there is a small medical area close together. There's an observation and analysis lab that covers the outside part, and on the inside there is a operating room. The inside of the med bay looks like it's locked with a key card, and you can see that for that room the power is on. If you want to open this door, you're going to need a key card. As you look around, on the far wall directly across from you, you can see a air vent that looks like it is also just large enough for someone to crawl through, a human. looking around on the observation area, all of the inside of your hazmat suits are starting to fog up from the heavy breathing, the exertion, the stress. But Dr. Manson, you're looking around, you see a bank of computer terminals all turned off. There are loose paperwork, and then there's a log book that seems to have been left open, and it has like scribbles on it. There is like a lot of rainwater that has dropped into this book and kind of messed up.
This evening.
Yeah, there's no bullet holes here, but it just seems like condensation is gathering on the ceiling and then dripping down. Maybe there's some way water is getting into this room that is not immediately available.
I'll walk by the computers just to see if any of these are on the backup power and just flip power switches.
It does. You flip the power switches. They're actually like they're hot, like they're turned on. It's just that whatever controls their operating system has been shut down. Like somewhere else in this base where like the servers and all the OSs are stored have been turned off. These are just data terminals that are trying to connect to something and nothing's happening.
No, I think these are broken. Then just like have a seat and start looking at paper notes.
Okay. The last entry in this notebook is from someone called Dr. Edom. It says, I'm so excited. I have found them, the Crabschlieder. The crab song. It is a sort of shrieking that the carcinids emit on an electromagnetic level. It's very interesting. They use it in order to replicate. You could also call it their breeding song. And now, there was some slight problems with putting it all together. Hinton has been very upset about who is getting credit for this, but I cannot credit the machine for my discovery, and I'm the one who really put two and two together.
That's what the book said, right? So only
Yes.
Dr. Manson sees that.
Correct.
Yeah. Is there any information on, like any notes on the analysis for this electronic signal?
No. Dr. Edom had apparently just discovered it and was about to put in work on it.
Okay.
Well, perhaps if these computers don't have power or they're not running, we need to provide that in the command center, maybe?
Good next stop.
I mean, they're on.
Oh.
I don't know what else to do. This is something other people normally fix for me.
I'm looking around the room. Anything else happening here?
There is the operating room on the other side of there's like a big glass wall, and then it has like an airlock door.
Is that
You
the observation
move closer,
room
Captain,
powered?
but you don't have power on your headlamp. It looks dark in there, but it seems like there's some stuff in there.
This is like a scene out of Independence Day.
Can you come shine a light in here?
Sure.
Oh.
And I'll close the book and I'll bring it with me.
Okay.
And I'll walk over to the observation.
You walk over to the observation area. It's, your headlamp can only light so much at any one time as you sweep it over. All of the operating room equipment has been smashed. Now, Dr. Mason, just on a quick look, you're like, I could fix a lot of this if I could get in there. It looks like there's a Litkovic MedPod 1080A, which can restore wounds pretty quickly, basically bring someone back from near death. There's a Sato T3 bioprinter that prints synthetic biological material, which is great if you need a new arm or something. There's a lead container that looks exactly like the other container with the fingers on it, but this one has several chemical symbols. On the outside is labeled hydrofluoric acid. There are 4 specimen containers that appear to have some sort of fist-sized larvae on them. The surgical bed has been overturned. There is webbing that is attaching the surgical bed to the wall, and there is a meter-long black crab-like limb lying underneath the bed, and a claw that ends in 4 rakes is pointing out from this bed.
That look about like the size of the claw that mark on that locker?
It looks a lot smaller.
Oh no.
Oh, that's so fascinating. Can we get in here?
So the door is working. It needs a key card, and it is locked.
I think we're going to need to find Dr. Eden or Hinton in order to be able to get in here.
Man Center.
I'm not I mean, after everything you've seen, do you really think Dr. Hinton and Dr. Eden are still here?
Well, they might be
Some of
here
them-
whether they're here or not.
That's fair.
They're here whether they're... I think it's likely they're here whether they're aware of it or not.
I think you just want their key card, Dr. Manson.
Well, if they're dead, then yes.
What we need is a logic core. That's all we need, and then we can get the hell out of here.
I would have
there's
thought
so
that would have
much
been back
here.
here.
No, you've gotten plenty. You got your canister. You got your fingers.
Well, in either case, we need more of this. We need to get the computer systems on.
Is the command center, is that 9 or is that going towards 10?
It's 9.
Okay, that's fine.
9.
I was gonna say if it's going through towards 10, I would rather Liquid propose crawling through the vents instead of going towards the thumping.
We still hear the thumping?
From here? No.
Okay.
You know, I'm interesting. I wonder.
Yes, Dr. Manson, a new hypothesis.
Well, it seems that Dr. Eden had isolated some sort of electronic signal being emanated by the Karkadens. Something that could be cognitively received by others. I wonder how that works on human brain chemistry and neurons.
Let's not do an analysis to find out, at least not at this moment. Probably it could summon more of them too. We don't know what the repercussions are.
Sure. It could also explain what happened to some of those Marines, but I wouldn't know until I could get into these computers, maybe.
Did it have a frequency or something specifically you were saying?
I can't say. That part of his research is going to be in the computers.
Oh, man, he's just got to pick up some sort of scanner to look for that. Man, I guess.
He holds
Is
up
any-
his damaged med scanner and goes, "We did. I don't know what happened."
Was there any
Center
mention of
probably
the
has-
logic core?
What's that?
Was there any mention of the logic core in your readings? It seems like you learned a lot in that book that is just slowly coming.
No, just professional relationship information about Hinton, but nothing about his internal components.
All right, well, I guess we have 3 choices, right? To go through the thumping area. I highly advise against that. Command center or vent. I'm voting command center.
I mean, maybe the command center could tell us more about how we can get this
I'm
data.
in.
And walk back out to where Renfield is.
Renfield
Hopefully.
turns and looks over his shoulder and says, "Okay, do you get what we need? You find anyone?"
Nobody, and some of the stuff that we need we can't get to yet. We'll have to come back later.
Crab claw.
Sorry, a crab claw?
Well, look, calling it a crab claw is a gross oversimplification for another
Doctor,
form
let's
of
make
life.
it very easy for me. I'm a pilot.
It'll look an awful lot like a large crustacean to you.
Okay. Well, what's the plan, Cap?
We would like to go
Command center.
here. Command center.
Okay.
See if we can restore some power.
She moves in front of it and then just hits a door. The door opens up. You can see that this is the central nervous system of the base. There is a dead Marine slumped over the controls here. It's like just large enough for one person to sit down in a seat, and then like 1980s style technology all around them as they swivel in 180 degrees. All of the computers have been smashed. All of the wiring that goes to the external communication equipment has been ripped out. And the Marine that is slumped over the controls has a single gunshot wound to his head and a revolver with 5 shots remaining, pointing at his own head.
I don't think we need a med scanner for this one.
No.
Well,
Very deductive reasoning, Doctor.
strangely enough, his body is covered in thousands of paper cuts, and it looks like he's holding something in his left hand.
What is that?
So
I shine the lights on it without touching.
you're gonna move forward and flip him over and grab it?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and do that.
Okay.
Oh, goodness. Fear rolls.
I think while Ferb is walking over to do that, Manson is just sort of like musing out loud. Now he has another doctor to bounce random ideas off of. He says, I wonder if the missing wildlife has something to do with the potential breeding cycle of this electronic signal.
Breeding cycle? What are you going on about?
So, Captain, while they're talking, you are looking at this SAMHSA 6 mission organization chart. I have sent it to you on Discord.
Okay.
It looks as if Second Lieutenant Kaplan has been updating the chart as he's discovered people. Like, the KIA and MIA marks are all added by him, and it does seem like he added a KIA next to himself.
Whoa.
That's true. Dr. Edam's still listed as alive here.
Where's Hinton? I don't see the name Hinton. Oh, top right.
MIA. Synthetic.
It's interesting. I mean, it seemed like Dr. Eden's thought is that the signal might have something to do with a breeding cycle. But, if you're going to be creating and expanding life, there'd be, there's, even if it's not biologically similar enough to have a registerable DNA, it would still need to, nothing could be created from nothing. You could explain the lack of wildlife.
Now,
Well,
Dr.
I hate
Mesa,
that.
About that.
as you're
I hate that
looking
you're
around,
digging me in.
You could repair this command center. You have the knowledge, and if you have any tools, you will have.
I do have
capability.
jury rigging.
But do you have tools?
I have a tool belt.
I don't think a tool belt's going to help you repair a base's computer systems.
That
Do
seems
you
fair.
need a screwdriver?
I have one.
I have a singular screwdriver.
I can jury rig with a scalpel, an oxygen tank, and a screwdriver.
So, roll 2d10. You determine, Dr. Mason, that if you spend about 7 hours without
Jesus.
tools, you could fix this command center and bring central computing and communication back online.
It sure seems like they went to a lot of trouble to bring it offline. And you're saying this signal's a problem? The only priority I have is finding
The logic core.
Hinton and his logic core.
If we have a more powerful transmitter online, we might be able to reach where they could be if they're not here. Something stronger than the system that we have on the shuttle.
Where else would they be?
While you're looking, you can see that Renfield is holding the dog tags of this dead Marine officer, and it says Second Lieutenant Kaplan.
You all right,
just kinda
Renfield?
rubbing them and just says, "Yeah, I think we're taking this a little bit way too casually."
That's what I keep saying.
I agree. We got, hit the pace here.
So, options. I can bring power back. It will take considerable time. I hate staying
that's
here
off
for a
the
long
list.
time.
We don't
So-
have.
So that's off. So either we go through vents or we are forced to break down barricade and see what's thumping.
Yeah, that barricade was just
Or we abort
blocking. Yeah, that hallway, that barricade was just blocking the western exit to the cafeteria, right?
The barricade
Mm.
was blocking movement between Area 3 and the hallway to 6, 7, and 10.
Yeah, I mean, we could just
But
check that hallway there. We could just walk around that barricade.
But we saw the map and would know that the hallway to the left of between 3 and 9 connects over there. So
That's what I'm saying. We could just walk around that barricade by taking the hallway right outside here.
I think Buck is saying that's not what he wants to do. Why would he want to go where the thing is hidden?
Well, if you can't fix this fast enough that to get power on, then we have to go to where the power is and turn it on there.
I don't think there is more power to turn on.
Well, they have to have some sort of generators here. We know there's some power anyways.
To what Captain Ferb had mentioned, it feels pretty deliberate to turn it all off. I'm not sure we want power back on. And maybe that sends these radio signals you've been talking about at a certain frequency, summons the breeding you've been talking about. Damn it, man, let's just find the core.
And Phineas, I hate to say this, but look, on this list, if there's people still alive according to this or missing in action, how would they have gotten out of here except by going through that garage? I know that's where the thumping's coming from, but
We probably know that could be somebody who's banging on a wall for help. I don't know.
Why did they not go out the way we came in? Because that was...
Well, look, if there's a garage that's got a vehicle, there's vehicle tracks, they skedaddled to get the heck out of here.
Besides, if something is strong enough, 12 feet tall, hundreds of pounds, can cleave metal with its claws, it's not going to be stuck behind a door. I doubt that's what we hear.
I am more worried about the paper cuts, personally.
Well, yeah. So let's get out of here.
I mean, we're wearing hazard suits. We'll be fine.
When you say that, Renfield just shakes her head.
Do not like your optimism.
Look, they're different. Would you rather I be optimistic and try to find solutions, or be pessimistic and just make everybody's lives harder?
You don't find solutions. You analyze. I've
just provided some.
Fine. Who's going to open the door? Who's going first?
I'll do it.
So where are you going?
We're going to the garage, I believe.
You begin to approach the garage. The label says Garage Utilities.
Actually, can we hear the thumping now that we're close again? Because you said we couldn't hear it further away.
Every few seconds. Now, the inside has roll-up doors. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And as Renfield is approaching, she just kneels down and is like, "Somebody come here. I'm gonna need help. I'm not that strong."
I'll go.
Okay. I need a strength check from you, Captain Baker.
All right. I've got my crowbar, which gives me advantage on this one.
Ooh. Look at Mr. Fancy Man. That is a critical success.
Man.
You don't even let Renfield get involved. You quietly roll it up. And as you bring it up,
I'm staying with him.
You can see that heavy gym equipment has been put here in order to prevent this door from being opened from the inside.
Ain't nothing on me.
You do it quietly.